everybody. My name is Olga with Gem Accounting and Tax. Gem Accounting and Tax is a CPA firm that works a lot in early childhood education. So we are a CPA firm that offers tax and accounting services for organizations in early childhood education. Today, I want us to talk about having an organizer for your child tax season organizer for your childcare business. And by this, I mean just putting together a set of documents that will make it much easier for a easier tax season. So let's get to work. The first thing I want to talk about is making sure that you have all the full legal names, social security numbers, EIN number, percent of ownership if you happen to have be in a partnership, a C corp or an S corp. You want to have all this information handy. If you own a business, you probably registered your EIN number with the IRS, and they probably gave you a letter that told you what tax form to use when you're filing the business tax return. It's very important to have this information. Address, of course, you know your address, but did you know you need to just double check how your address is spelled out in the USPS website? This is the information what that the IRS uses to double check your address. So for example, you might live in an apartment or multi-family home where everybody has a unit. You might refer to your door number as a unit number or apartment number, or maybe use the hashtag number. Just make sure you have all this information correctly. You'll be surprised how mail gets lost just because we missed to put the correct address on our taxes. So always make sure you have your full names, the business names, the EIN numbers. If you have multiple people like dependents or family members on your tax return, make sure you have their accurate social security numbers, dates of birth. Very important when you're filing your taxes. If you own a business, okay, the most important thing is making sure you have accurate records. So you need to know what your income was. Say for 2023, you want to know all the money that came in that is for the purposes of the business. In addition to that, if you are a self-employed individual, did you receive a 1099 from your employer? And I mean this term employer loosely. So for example, you're not a full-time employer, but you're a contractor. You should have received a 1099 if your income was greater than $600 during 2023. When you receive that document, make sure to examine it. Are the numbers accurate? Okay, so if you're the person that you had done work for indicates one amount, say maybe they say they paid you $10,000, but the actual amount was 8,000. Guess what? When that 1099 report was issued, the same report was given to the IRS. So for IRS records, they will have it that you received the $10,000. But if your actual income was 8,000, you want to make sure that this is corrected. Otherwise, if you file your tax return with the incorrect number, you might end up being in trouble with penalties and letters from the IRS. So always examine that 1099 and make sure that it is accurate. If you have a home office, okay, and did you know that you can actually have a home office, especially in this day and age where a lot of us are working remotely? If you run your own business, you're self-employed, you can actually write off part of your home office expenses on your tax return. This, unfortunately, is not available for people who are wage earners. But don't lose heart. Making sure that you are tracking these expenses is very important. The way the home office works is the IRS says you need to have a space, a room in your home that is regularly and exclusively used for business. That is what you have to think about. So for example, if it's a bedroom that is for overnight guests, that might not be an appropriate home office, but you need to have a space that is regularly and exclusively used for business. Now when you have such a space, you can then write off a portion of your home maintenance expenses. So your rent, your mortgage, your property taxes, your utilities can be written off on your tax return. And how do we do this? I'll explain to you by using an example. If you have a space in your room, say it's 100 square foot, and your total square footage of your home is 1,000. It means, therefore, that 10% of your home maintenance expenses can be a legit write-off for your business. So it's very important to track your numbers, make sure you know how much it costs you to maintain your home. If you have a if you have self-employment income, like you are getting a 1099, or you have a business like you're running your childcare from your home, you can also write off your mileage. The most important thing is to make it as easy as possible to track your business miles. And how do you track this? My recommendation is to have an app. Google mileage tracking apps on your computer or your phone or your device. You should be able to come up with mile tracking apps that you can then download on your phone and then be able to use them to track your mileage. Personally, I use Mile IQ. I have no affiliation with the company, but it's easy for me. So basically, this app tracks whenever I'm moving or driving from point A to B, and it'll ask me to indicate whether it's a personal type of travel or business travel. And sometimes it uses AI so that it can actually remember that we notice that you always travel from point A to point B at this time. Can we automatically categorize that transaction? So you're picking your child from school every day at a certain time. It'll know that it's personal, so you don't have to worry about that. So over time, the app will learn your travel your travel patterns, and it will be able to pick up whether they're business or personal. Again, this is an information that you will provide to your tax professional, making it so easy to file your tax return. So we talked about having good records, making sure you're tracking your 1099 and examine it for accuracy. If you're maintaining a home office, know that you can write off a portion of those expenses for your taxes and also your mileage. Another one is if you have large business expenses. So maybe you're running your office and you just started and you purchased a computer, a printer, a scanner. These are business, and therefore the business, these ones can be written off on your taxes. So please keep those receipts in case you ever get audited. Make sure you're keeping good records, but these again are write-offs. Um, if you happen to have other subcontractors working for you, make sure to issue them with 1099s. Again, accuracy here is important. You don't want to overstate or understate this amount, because in case of an audit, you will have to prove that those numbers are accurate. And also, you don't want the recipients of the 1099s to get the incorrect amounts and then get penalties or have to pay more taxes just because the 1099 amount was incorrect. If you happen to have employees, the recommendation is that you use a payroll firm. Okay, use a reputable payroll firm to run your payroll. In my experience, business owners that don't track payroll properly always end up in trouble, and especially with the IRS. So I would recommend that you use a reputable payroll company that will remit the taxes to the right taxing authorities. Very, very important. Also, for the purposes of filing your taxes, have you considered, contributing some money to a retirement fund? Very, very important that as much as you are, making money and, building your future, you want to make sure that you're setting aside money for retirement. I am not a retirement expert. You would have to go to a certified financial planner and make sure you talk to them about your specific situation. If you have the available cash, consider putting aside money for retirement. This is very beneficial because number one, you'll save money on your taxes. Number two, you're putting aside money for your own benefit at a future time period. Consider also if you have healthcare expenses. Um, Again, record keeping, record keeping, record keeping. I cannot say this enough. If you have health insurance payments, out of pocket expenses, HSA contributions, keep good records. Why? This is going to be important and it will be a write off on your taxes. Um, Again, we all want to pay our correct taxes. We don't want to overpay, but just having a good system of record keeping will go a long way in lowering your tax liability. Lastly, I want to talk about charitable contributions. Just so you know, I'll give you an example. Like for the 2023 tax season, meaning the 2023 tax return, it's too late right now. Today is the 11th of February to contribute towards a retirement charitable contribution. But throughout 2023, if you had donations to church or donations to your favorite charity, these can be offset. This can help lower your taxes. So keep good receipts. If there were cash donations, make sure the money is trackable. Maybe you're using a check or you're using an app that the church has provided. Make sure you can track these numbers. A lot of charitable organizations will send you a summarized letter at the end of the year giving you a summary of your contribution. So again, that is very important. Let's keep these good records. Now, if you follow the steps that I've given you, and maybe you're filing your own taxes, or maybe you're using a tax professional, all this will make it so much easier for you or your tax professional to file your taxes. Again, this is Olga with Gem Accounting and Tax. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.